All right, we have a quorum present. I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. It is Monday, October 30th, 2023 at 6 p.m. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, which Paul Mostella will lead us.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Paul. Paul Ariano will read our board mission statement.
Through high expectations and equitable opportunity, TMISD will focus on the whole child by providing a safe environment and a high-quality curriculum with diverse and enriching experiences.
Thank you, Paul. All right, our next item is public comment / open forum, which is the time for members of the audience to address the Board of Trustees. Before we begin, I will remind all our audience members of the board's procedures for handling public comments. Each public comment speaker will be allowed a maximum of 3 minutes to address the board, except that non-English speakers will be allowed a maximum of 6 minutes to address the board. Public comment shall be limited to discussion of items on tonight's agenda. Please keep your comments or criticisms civil and courteous. Avoid using profanity and refrain from making personal attacks on others during your opportunity to speak. Yelling, inappropriate, uncivil, or discriminatory comments will not be permitted. For a list of prohibited behaviors and conduct during public comment, please see TMISD Board Policy, BED Local. Lastly, we ask that you not discuss students who are not your own child. I also caution you that your public comments are not intended for complaints about individual school employees or students. Public comment is also not intended to discuss employees by name or position or identify students other than your own child. As presiding officer, I am obligated to determine whether a person addressing the board has attempted to administratively resolve any complaints or grievances about which they want to address the board that involve district officers, employees, students, or parents. In the event your comment constitutes a complaint or charge against an employee, officer, students, or parents, it may be necessary for me to interrupt and direct you to proceed with the school district's formal grievance procedures, which can be found online and include policies DGBA, FNG, and GF. Thank you, and our first speaker is Larissa Mattis.
I don't know where to stand. Do I stand right here?
Okay, you're good.
I said I wouldn't be nervous, but I am a little bit. So, hi there. Some of you may know me. However, please allow me to introduce myself. I am Mrs. Mattis, and I currently work at the middle school. I am here to speak on behalf of myself and my colleagues on the TMISD compensation plan that will be discussed tonight. In order to understand my perspective, first let me tell you a little bit about myself. I started my teaching career at TM about 12 years ago. I've been at the middle school for all those years. Every school day, I drive about 20 miles to and from Southside Corpus, drop off my 3rd grader at the intermediate and my 9th grader at the high school before heading to work. My boys have been attending TM since kinder, and honestly, I wouldn't change a thing. You see, I'm a TM lifer, if that's a saying. I believe I bleed maroon and gold. My experience here continues to be great, and I'm thankful for this district. I always tell others, my career goal is to receive my rocking chair at the end of my teaching career, led by a standing ovation for teaching in one district for all those years. Now, 12 years later, I am one of 4 teachers that were hired before 2011 who are still currently working at the middle school. Many of my colleagues throughout the years have left this wonderful district due to teacher pay. These are highly qualified teachers that have had huge impacts on our students. This has affected our campus tremendously. I truly believe that teacher turnover affects the quality of education we provide and negatively impacts student achievement for all students. Just at the middle school, it's taken us years to get our accountability ratings up. Currently, you can walk on our campus and you might not see the hardship. You will see teachers that show up daily and continue to educate the future. We know we're not in this profession for money, but for the impact we have on students. Yet, as I walk around my campus, speaking to others, I learn we have many teachers that are financially struggling. We have teachers taking on multiple jobs like DoorDash, Lyft, and Uber during their free time. We have teachers anxious of which bills to prioritize, and we have teachers worried about health insurance being so costly for families. This breaks my heart because I consider myself a person on my campus that will help any teacher with anything at any time. But in this case, I can't help them. So my way of helping is speaking up today. Compensation plan for this school year would help ease financial burdens that many are facing at this moment. This is such an amazing district, and this past year has been one of the best years yet. Thank you, Mr. Van Matry, for joining our tribe, and thank you, the Board of Trustees, for giving us a raise last year. I'm appreciative of that raise, and I can only hope you consider a compensation plan going forward. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And our next speaker is Lanissa Yates.
Good evening. My name is Lanissa Yates, and I've been teaching for 15 years, with the last 5 being at Toloso. I first want to say how thankful I am to have the opportunity to teach in such a great district. The staff, students, and parents are phenomenal, and every day that I come to work, I feel that I was successful in delivering my content and building relationships with my students and my colleagues. Although I did not start my career at Toloso, I plan for this to be where I retire, and I am excited for the opportunities that my 2 boys will have by attending Toloso as well. This district has helped shape me into the master teacher that I am today, and for that, I am extremely grateful. I stand before you today as one of the dedicated and passionate educators that play a vital role in shaping the future of our students. I appreciate this opportunity to address an issue of utmost importance, teacher pay. As a dedicated educator and a member of this community, I am deeply committed to the success of our students and the well-being of our schools. I want to begin by acknowledging the challenges that school boards face in managing budgets and resources effectively. Your commitment to providing quality education is unquestionable, and we appreciate your dedication. Teachers are the backbone to our educational system. We are not just instructors, but mentors, motivators, and advocates for our students. We spend countless hours planning, grading, and going above and beyond to meet the diverse needs of our students. However, the financial reality is stark. Many of our dedicated teachers are facing financial stress. Low pay impacts morale and retention. In some cases, educators are forced to take on multiple jobs or choose which family members can be covered under insurance just to make ends meet. This not only affects us personally, but also detracts from the time and energy we can invest in our students. Teacher retention is a critical issue. Highly qualified teachers often leave the district or profession due to financial concerns. This constant turnover is detrimental to the stability of our schools and the quality of education we can provide. Investing in our teachers is investing in our students and the future of our community. When educators are compensated fairly, it not only helps attract and retain the best talent, but also motivates us to continue our professional growth and invest in our students. I want to emphasize that we are not asking for financial recognition for our work. We are advocating for a better future for our students, schools, and our community. I urge you to consider a long-term impact of fair teacher compensation. I understand that budget constraints are a reality, and we must prioritize wisely. However, I believe that investing in our educators is an investment in the future of our students and our community. Thank you very much for your time and your consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Amen.
Okay, that brings us to move on to discussion and action. Item number 1, discuss and consider approval of the 2023-2024 compensation plan.
Madam President, members of the board, I've given you a handout with some data that I wanted you to see prior to getting into the discussion on the compensation plan. But before that, I'd like to thank you for asking that this item be brought back up. It's of vital importance to our staff. The first item is the statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance, which is this. And this reflects good news. But it's only 1 month. We should have spent 8.33% of the fiscal year's budget. and we're at 8%. So we're running below where we should be, which is good news. The second item is legal expenditures. And unfortunately, we're almost $10,000 above for 1 month what we were in September of '22. I am very confident that there was some unique legal expenditures in August and September that we will not see. Of course, that's no guarantee, but there were some very, very unusual expenditures that I think have been rectified. Travel expenses are up $2,400 from last year. The bulk of that is student travel. Employees through the course of the year will not travel to everything they really need to go to because that's a priority item with addressing our deficit. The sub expenditures are really good news, and that really says a lot about campus personnel. We've saved year-to-date $15,413 from subs from October 10th to October 14th, 2022 to October 9th, October 13th, 2023. That's a significant savings, and that will continue. Utilities have gone up 2%. We had a fall baseball league that we didn't have in the previous year. So that's over with, so we won't have that expenditure. What I am looking for, and haven't received the data yet, is what was the increase in September from 22-23, or 21-22 to 22-23. My guess is it's a lot higher than 2%. And then, of course, the bulk of the savings so far has been in personnel and attrition, and that's $493,068, which is a significant decrease in not hiring people that we have had positions for that have left us. The compensation plan in front of you is the exact same plan that Ms. Riggs gave a presentation on. It's more than a 2.5% at the midpoint raise for teachers and 1% at the midpoint for administrators and auxiliary staff. It's a formal compensation plan that we haven't had. And it still needs work, but it's year one. And we have not had a structured compensation plan, with the exception for our teachers, that if this is adopted, will go into effect this year and beyond. And I predict, with relative high degree of confidence, that every year we will adjust some of the pay grades and categories and responsibilities like we have on this one. There's 3 categories that were glaringly underfunded and that we've put on a different high pay grade, and that's our pairs who work with our PASS unit, our adaptive ed, and our SPED kids. These amazing employees are changing diapers and meeting the needs of children that we need to meet their needs. So we have elevated them to a higher pay grade than what they previously were on, recognizing the unique aspect of their work. That's one example of the compensation plan that I am going to recommend highly that will be adopted tonight. Mr. Carroll, can you talk about the overall fiscal impact of the compensation plan out of the raises that are included in the compensation plan?
So it's summarized in the budget amendment, which is the second item, which is contingent upon the first item, but I took every current full-time employee, and this is just the general fund. Anybody that's paid out of special revenue, they'll get the same raise, but those funds will cover that. So the amendment is just for the general fund. I took every budgeted position that we have, less the ones that we've gotten rid of, that we've reduced through attrition, and applied the compensation plan to those people. And then I've downloaded every budget, and then that increase reflects what it would take to fund these positions at these rates for this fiscal year. So I forget the exact figure, but it's in the second item. But it covers all the teachers. It covers everybody, all full-time people that are paid.
$439,650.
It's approximately 40 administrators and non-teaching professionals, 109 clerical and paras, the 287 teachers that are paid on the teacher pay scale. And it averages, because I'm already taking into account, unfortunately, Patrick's department is sorely under employed. They have a lot of vacancies. So we've already had a lot of vacancies so far this year. So it averages out to, we've got a budget, I think it's about right under 100 people. I'm taking into account the savings because we've already had a lot of vacancies so far this year. So it covers everybody that's paid out of the general fund.
Let me ask you, like in his department, are you not gonna hire?
No, we're
trying.
We're gonna hire, but I'm basing it
That's
on
already included
my
also.
history, and hopefully we'll fill some of these, but I'm anticipating, I doubt we'll ever get up to 100% this year.
We never have been.
We haven't been, historically, we haven't been 100%. So I've got that factored in here.
And so this compensation plan, Leo, last year, on average, some teachers received higher, some lower. On average, it was an 8.5% raise. This year, it's 2.5 at the midpoint. So after 2 years, that's 11%. That's to me, that's a very strong message to our employees that we're going to remain competitive. I'm sorry.
You had said that you saved 300 or 400,000 from not hiring.
493,068. That's people just from August that I don't have that legal. That were
replaced them.
I'm sorry.
That you have not replaced them.
That we have not replaced. Let me give you an example of one.
And there's no intention in.
No intention. We had an assessment person at the high school in the $70,000 range. We didn't replace that, but we moved someone that was currently employed, and we're making them a case manager to oversee that. So there's no negative effect on students, but it's a heck of a cost saving.
Is there a negative effect on employees?
No. We are generally what I would consider to be a little overstaffed, and I think we can afford to tighten our belt with the number of employees. In some cases, we can't. For example, if we lose a teacher in adaptive ed, we have to replace that teacher. But at our elementary campuses, we're running 16, 17 to 1. That's low. That's expensive. We may not be able to do that next year, but it sure is beneficial for academic performance.
No doubt.
And is that number 493, is that included in this budget at 1030, Philip?
Yes.
So they've been taken out already?
Yes.
And we're still at 2.7 million negative?
Yes.
Well, I don't think some have been taken out. Once the budget was adopted, we did have a few
Yeah,
that
some of
resigned.
them were already taken out before the August 31st budget that was adopted. But most of them are in there. I've reduced the FTE because I said, are we replacing this person? Are we not? Tell me how we're absorbing it. And so they're not in there.
So the 2.7 includes also the compensation plan?
Yeah, because we went to 2.3 and then you're bumping it back up to
Trying to,
back down.
in my mind, I'm trying to say a lower number.
Make sure we all know what it's at.
The other variable that we haven't been able to determine is the actual audit numbers from 22, 23 to see what we are there.
Yeah.
It's going to be around $1 million.
You mean difference?
I think you predicted,
What I would say that, what I would call the true operating deficit for last year, not taking into account the athletic improvements, that was a separate thing.
Right.
That's gonna cause the deficit, but after we take that, the 5.5 out, and then, the 300,000, or about 280,000 that we had to pay the food service fund back for the free lunches for people that don't qualify, because we said everybody was gonna eat for free. If you take those two numbers out, the true operating deficit, meaning revenues that were under expenditures, operating expenditures, it should be hopefully about $1 million. That's what I'm
Okay,
hoping.
so we had said 2.2 million unaudited, right?
Right.
And you're saying that it's probably going to be closer to 1?
Hopefully it'll be closer to
And how much was the food service dollars that we had to pay out of
It was
pocket?
about 280,000.
the other variable is insurance. Philip is going out for some competition to see if we can lower that, because that was one of the 3 or 4 items.
Big number.
Yes.
Yeah, because it went up so high. They changed
Well, I
it
think
this
that
year.
will give our present insurance carrier a reason to,
We
if
would hope
nothing
so.
else, attend the meeting when we're paying that kind of.
What is our
rate.
cycle, our annual cycle? When is it
It
due?
renews March the 1st.
Okay.
That's something we
So
gotta
we're
get better
actively-
at. We
Yeah.
gotta get better at pushing. I know you're a busy man, I know everybody's busy, but these deals that we've had for 5 years, and they're good people and they're a good company, we have to push people to the limit, because we're cheating ourselves.
Yeah, because if you take the general fund, if you take payroll out, our insurance is 22% of what's left. So almost a quarter of our non-payroll general fund is for insurance. And we've had double-digit
We
increases in the
need them
last
to
3
go
years.
fight for us on that stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, here's my take on everything, and I talked to Mr. Van Matry about certain things, and Ms. Yates, you hit it right on the nail. It is our job as trustees, and I'm speaking for myself, I'm just, when I look up what does a trustee do? Well, we make sure that this doesn't happen. You know what I mean? That's our job. The community voted for us to make sure that we take care of our district. But, we can't take care of the district if we don't take care of you guys. So that's the opposite to it. Is it political suicide to do something that I think I'm gonna do tonight? So be it. But we need to make sure that our teachers are taken care of. And that's the way I
And
feel.
to touch on that is what I brought up in August, because teachers are our most important asset that we have. Because they teach the future. They're teachers, but they teach doctors, lawyers, engineers, all of them. And that's why I said it in August, and that's why I was one that made the motion that didn't pass. But now, considering all the budget items that we have, we're extending that from that 8%, another 2.5%, which I wish could be more, but most everyone understands our budget constraints and what we have to deal with. But we have to take care of the teachers because of the fact that they are the ones that teach our kids, all of them, in the future. That's, y'all said it very well, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
So I'll take it a step further.
Right,
We'll just
because,
keep
you know,
going around.
First of all, let me just finish my thing. Because as of tonight, our numbers didn't get any better for tonight. I'm sure they will be, but so, you know, once again, feeding off that, it takes a lot for us to hopefully do what we're gonna do tonight. It's gonna weigh heavy on us also, because this doesn't look any better tonight than hopefully in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and we're banking on that. Or at least I am. At least I am, so, I'm sorry, Kim, go
But
ahead.
it is looking better.
It looks better.
It's looking better.
I would just like to piggyback on that. When we came forward in August with this proposition, these numbers were horrible. There was no way in our right mind that we could jeopardize what we have, or what we didn't have, rather, to move forward. It wasn't that we weren't for teachers. I think that was something that was probably misrepresented, that we weren't for teachers. It's not that at all, golly. I have educators in my family, and I know how hard my educator works. He's been in education for 30 years, and so I know what educators do. I've worked in education, I've seen what the work is, and it is appreciated. It really is. But when we had this brought to us in August, we're not for teachers. It was not feasible to do that for the district. So coming forward, the numbers, like Mr. Benavides said, you know, they'll get better, and we're banking on that they'll get better to move forward. I just want to clear that we are for teachers. That came to us at that time was not in our best interest as for the district. So having said that, we appreciate y'all, and our jobs here is to take care of the district, to take care of our funds, so that we can take care of y'all, and we appreciate y'all.
Go ahead.
So I want to talk about just some of the comments that were made tonight. Y'all know that my family comes from a long history of educators. My husband had to leave education due to the payment that he was receiving, and is no longer impacting children. He's impacting people in other ways. Does he miss it? Yes. I know from my own household how hard it is to live on an educator's salary. If I could win the lottery today, educators would make more money than entertainers would. Because guess what? They can't entertain without y'all. We cannot sit here without y'all. Our kids will not be successful without y'all. With that being said, it takes the whole glue of the system, right? Starting with the bus drivers that bring those kids to school, to y'all teaching them in the classrooms, to the aides that we have, to the technology that we provide, to the curriculum, to the people that serve the food in the cafeteria, and forgive me if I'm forgetting anybody, the people that clean the schools. It takes the entire team. And that's why tonight is so important, because our teachers received the steps, right? Which, like everybody has emphasized here, we wish we could give y'all everything. The state of Texas is tying our hands. And we have to be good stewards of our money. But at the same time, we've got to make sure that we take care of the glue of the system, and everybody deserves something. So that's kind of where I stand tonight. I have to say that we received, in August, we received our deficit 1 week prior to us coming to the board meeting. And with that kind of information and us being responsible and being good stewards of our taxpayers' money, it was hard for us. It was hard for us to swallow a deficit. It is hard for us to swallow a bigger deficit tonight. but we are truly trying to do what's in the best interest of our students, our employees, and our community. So I don't know where we're going tonight. I hope I know where we're going, but I want to commend y'all for being here tonight. I want to commend y'all for speaking up. Like I said, I'd give y'all everything I could if I could.
Go ahead.
So I think, perfect, everybody came up here and talked today, and I think this district is in a place we haven't been in a very long time. And one of the things I said, and when I took this position, was I wanted to push the status quo. I wanted to get away from the things we've done at TM. I'm a lifer at TM. I bleed maroon and gold just as much as anybody, probably more than most people. And I think when you go to, I have nephews and nieces and kids on each campus, and every time I go to a campus, the energy and the stuff that I see is amazing. I think another thing we have to do is we have to trust our people, right? A couple meetings ago, we talked about how our financial rating was world-renowned or we have to trust the people that are in charge to say, you can do this. And we have to get out of our comfort zone. I look at this general fund number, 23%, and I think to myself, what does that mean to me, right? Is 23% lower than we've been in the last 10 years? Is it higher than we've been in the last 10 years? If we could know that type of stuff, then it makes everybody feel a little bit more comfortable. Yeah, we're at 23%, but in 2007, we were at 17%. And I know times change and economics change, but to be competitive, to continue the motivation and the energy we have to, and again, this is me speaking for me, we have to reward our people that are putting in the time every day. While at the same time, you have a tough job with your staff of, yeah, we're not going to rehire people, but we don't want to impact our staff negatively where they're doing too much now, right? So it's a huge balance game. But when I look at it and I look at 23% and I say, okay, we're 14% budget deficit, whatever it is, we have an established practice of being very fiscally responsible. And if a guy and the leader of the group and the administration and the teachers are saying, this is what we need, then we have to listen to that. So that's just my little spill.
Plus the fact that it's a compensation package, which Kim and others have brought up, it's going to deal with everyone, not only teachers, but everyone, all the way from the custodians, bus drivers, everyone, which is vitally important, which they are very important because what is the school? It's all the people working together.
Again, that goes back, custodians wearing TM t-shirts, little things like that are showing pride, showing energy, putting pride into people for what they do. I treat everybody the same. No job is any different than anybody's job, from the superintendent to the custodian. Everybody's treated the same, but you can see the strides being made, even in little things like that. And to give them a shirt, but then say, well, I don't know if we got enough to give you any more money, I think is not in our best interest. Again, that's me speaking. So.
But the compensation package should improve upon that, which is going to go forward as well, which is business standard pretty much everywhere.
Prior to last year, I don't remember what the number was. How long had it been since a teacher had a raise?
It had been at least 2 years, yeah. We'd been doing the retention incentives, but a permanent TRS eligible raise had been 2 years before then.
Well, I got here in 20 and there hadn't been a raise. So I think it might have been longer than
So
that.
basically, history would be made tonight with a compensation plan in place instead of.
A precedence will be made tonight. We will set a precedence with you're right,
Right,
history
right,
too.
yeah.
But we're setting a precedence with a plan. Again, this is strategic plan.
Yes.
Compensation plan. The stuff you do, these are all things that we've missed the boat on. And I'm not blaming anybody, not throwing shade on anybody, but we're moving and we've got a plan now. We've got a vision. So the next person that comes, that's sitting in my chair can say, this is what I'm talking about. This is where we're headed, right? So these are all positive things that thank you all for doing that. So that we don't end up with, well, I got here in 2020 and they hadn't had a raise since then. We don't need to be in that spot. We need to be proactively thinking just as I've preached again, I'm gonna throw one more plug for the bond, that we have to think ahead so that we're not asking for $165 million when we didn't ask for $0 over the last 12 years. And I think we're getting there with these strategic plans and all these things we're doing, so.
Any other?
What I always say, move forward.
100%.
I would just say that, you know, obviously, I think all of us up here believe that you guys are deserving of a raise without question. I don't think that's ever been a question. You know, in the last board meeting, when the whole thing, you know, didn't get passed, there was never a question of, well, they deserve it. Of course y'all deserve it. But we have to be fiscally responsible too. And just not that y'all, not that this means anything to you all, but we've got a measurement within the school board and with our finance that we're supposed to have 25% in the general fund to secure 3 months' worth of operating in case there's a disaster. And we've been kind of trickling down where we were 25%, then we went to 23.5, and then now we're at 21.8. So that's a key measure that we need to. Doesn't mean, you know, how the vote's going to go tonight, but those are very key components in grading how we decide how the district handles their finances. So that's you know, those are decisions that we don't take lightly. And I don't want to stand up here and make a soliloquy or anything, but I mean, those are important from a finance guy standpoint. You know, when you're in a situation where you don't know exactly where you're going financially, you know, you kind of got to be conservative, or that's you know, the train of thought typically. So anyway, anything that has been decided in the past couple months, it's been, well, at least from my perspective, it's been from a financial standpoint for the district.
And that's great information that would be wonderful if y'all would go and share that information, because a lot of people don't know where we do need to be at 25%. So,
Well, being that in 2020, we were at 60%, Philip? I think that's what I had seen.
I'm not gonna, we were definitely much greater than 25%.
When the pre-COVID numbers, in researching for this job, when I looked at the financials, you had an explosion in your fund balance during the COVID years. You just didn't spend any money.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. In 2020, in November of 2020, I know we were at like 60%. So now that we're at 21 or so, it is scary. I mean, that's what scares me, right? Because I've seen that number and I see this number, but faith is what I'm going on, and deserving, you guys deserve it.
and getting kids in the classroom, I know that y'all are working really, really hard to get our ADA up, and everybody sitting in here knows ADA is what pays the bills, right? Pays the teachers, and educating our parents more in our community to send your kids to school. For one, an education, right? Top priority, educate your kids. But second, we need them sitting in the classrooms for education and to be able to pay the teachers standing in the classrooms.
And it shows that the teachers are also taking it serious, because our substitutes going down, and that means that everybody is taking this seriously. We appreciate that.
And our attendance is
I think it was over
tracking much
94,
higher than
the last data I sent you, which is really good. Our neighbors are living in the high 80s.
Yeah.
Let's good. Let's keep it up, because we need
What
it.
I think needs to be considered is $5.5 million of that fund balance decrease. I view it as an investment that I think will attract kids to come to TM. I also think very strongly that the $165 million investment that we're asking the community to participate in will be an absolute game changer for TM. I would be shocked if it isn't, because our facilities will be cutting edge, our extracurricular will be the finest. And our teachers will have laboratories to teach in that you can't say that they have right now. I agree with you, Leo and Ben, that we do need to keep an eye on that trajectory. But I'm confident that we'll see a turn as we progress.
And part of the reason we got here is because we didn't do anything. Like, we didn't spend, we didn't do, we deferred maintenance, we didn't give raises, we didn't anticipate for the future. So, yes, we can make the books look good, but if you go back to those years, the morale wasn't where it is now.
We also have curriculum that was old that had to be replaced. So
Yes.
we have a lot that's hit the budget.
We're investing a lot in the school district.
Which turns up for the kids, shows up for the kids.
Any other discussion or comments? All right.
Madam President, members of the board, it is the administration's enthusiastically recommendation.
I don't see that written on here.
Shades, that's an adjective. That the board approve, oh, I forget, your math now. She passed her math certification, by the way. Recommendation that the board approve the 2023-2024 compensation plan as presented.
I will make that motion.
I will second that.
All right, I have a motion made by Paul Mostella and a second by Ben Benavides that the recommendation that the board approve the 2023-2024 compensation plan as presented. All those in favor? None opposed, motion carries 6-0. Congratulations to everybody.
Thank y'all.
All right, moving on to discussion action item number 2, discuss and consider approval of the presented budget amendment.
Mr. Carroll?
This, as discussed before, this is taking our staffing right now to get us through August 31st, the current staffing with the new compensation plan. This is what it takes to make the budget whole. Keeping in mind that there will be, hopefully, I've already budgeted for the salary savings, but hopefully there'll be a little bit more salary savings that will bring this number down.
And I know we're just 1 month in, so we have a long ways to go.
But believe me, I'm spending way more time looking at every minute change in every area that's either going up or going down. But this is what it takes to get the budget to cover what we're staffing right now with the new plan.
And we greatly appreciate your hard work and your team's hard work to get answered all the questions that we have when it comes to the finances.
We know that y'all are doing, like you said, a lot of time and effort in making sure that it does happen and everything. Sounds like it's headed in the right direction.
What is the audit timeline, Philip?
We're scheduled to, we're working on giving the file to the auditor. We're going to present in December at the December, I want to say the 12th, 13th, of whatever the regular December meeting is when we're hoping that the audit will be presented. And I can, as we get closer, I can start estimating what the number's going to look like. I'm going to know by the time we turn the file over to the auditor what our numbers are going to look like. So I can keep y'all updated on that.
Any other questions, discussion? We're about to make record timing. Let's go.
It is the administration's recommendation that the board approve the budget amendment as presented.
Do I have a
Make
motion?
that motion as well.
I'll second that. I have a motion made by Paul Mostella and a second by myself for the recommendation that the board approve the budget amendment as presented. All those in favor? None opposed, motion carries 6-0. We do have our future meeting is November 13th, 2023. That will be our regular called board meeting. No other business?
No other business.
All right, it is now 6:44 PM, and with no further business to discuss at this time, this meeting needs to be voted. Do I have a motion? Have a second? I got ahead of myself. All those in favor? None opposed? Motion carries 6-0. It is still 6:44 PM and this meeting is adjourned.